WEFUNK. We funk.
We watched Spencer Confidential. And this one obviously takes place in Boston. So it joins the
and
ranks
by
of,
obvious we mean because Mark Wahlberg's starring in it, so
yeah.
I guess that took care of that. That took care of that plot line.
Pretty quickly. Well, where should we set this thing? How about Boston?
Like,
But
what
it
an
joins
idea.
the ranks of many, many other Boston funny-voiced movies.
Yes, which is definitely kind of like, you know, has become like a whole sub-genre of at least hilarious accent movies here on the Geeked Up podcast, but really just interestingly enough, like a whole genre, I guess because of like a couple of prominent assholes that make sure that you know that they're from Quincy or whatever. But we have the Wahlberg and then the whole Damon Affleck mafia. But they've really, like, you know, between them have just created this, like, genre of Boston movies.
That's very true, yeah. Absolutely.
Where it's just like, you know, even just in terms of other cities, Boston's, like, not the most famous city, but, like, right off the bat, you can just rattle off. I mean, of course, you get The Departed, which is, like, the foremost Boston movie. But...
yeah. Those are kind of like the gangsta Boston movies. The first Boston movie I remember, though, would be Good Will Hunting, I think, is the first one that really, like,
okay, yes.
really heard that silly voice. How you like them apples?
No, for sure. And that's definitely what, of course, got the whole Damon Affleck thing going as well. Really put them on the map.
They started doing the funny voices.
And it was
even
sure,
Robin
I guess
Williams
it does make sense. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
That even Robin Williams is putting on that silly accent in that movie.
For sure.
Like
Robin
my
Williams
wife's fatted.
plays another, yeah. And I mean, I guess it, like, you know, does, it's a good rags to riches setting just because it is like the preppy college kids. And I'm just a kid from Southie without much privilege. So it's like, it's all right there for you in the city. So a lot of, you know, an easy plot line there. And then, of course, Damon and Affleck really just capitalized on that. And then it all came together, I should have said, in The Departed, where Wahlberg joined in.
Yeah, the Wahlberg-Damon crossover you've always been wanting.
But then there's, as well, I guess, a lot of different, like, Boston sports comedies, you know, where, of course, the most recent one was Fever Pitch with Fallon and Barrymore. Or no, was it Barrymore?
Yeah, it was Fallon Barrymore. He was the big Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
And
which was, like,
was,
crazily
like,
enough, like, filmed on location with the Red Sox winning the World Series.
That's true. And I always thought they just kind of put that in there afterwards the movie.
Yeah, no, they, like, literally, like, fucking, they had, like, alternate ending planned if they lost and everything like that, and literally got the rights to have, like, Fallon run onto the field of Fenway during, I don't think it was the 2004, I think it might have been, like, the second Red Sox World Series. But just an amazing, you know, like, production accomplishment anyway.
Yeah, good
And then, of
job.
course, before there was Fever Pitch, there was the OG Boston sports comedy. And another real Boston sports, Boston movie staple, but Celtic Pride. Where, of course,
Dan Aykroyd.
exactly, Dan Aykroyd and Randy Quaid. Is it? I always get those two confused.
No, it's Daniel Stern.
Or Daniel Stern, rather. Yes, I always fucking get that guy's name wrong. But Aykroyd and Daniel Stern kidnap Damon Wayans.
Yeah, that's right.
And one of the great jerseys, by the way, one of the great, like, geeked sports crossover jerseys that I've always dreamed of getting, but is the Utah Jazz Scott jersey, which is Damon Wayans' obviously name in the movie, but great. Next to the Wild Thing Indians jersey, best, like, geeked crossover fake jersey you can get is the Jazz Scott jersey, number 2.
It's got to be out there.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure some hilarious Jazz fan has that one, but I guess, and as well, like, either if you're a Jazz fan, either the option is getting, like, Karl Malone or the hilarious Damon Wayans, like, a parody version, but gotta go Damon Wayans in this one.
Yeah, for sure. I guess as the other Boston thing I would think of, again, like, really capitalizing. Well, I guess not really so much on the voices because they do more Irish accents in it, but the whole thing set in Boston is the Boondock Saints.
Of course. Yeah, that's really, I guess, in a lot of ways, like the original Boston gangster movie. And you're right, that is like the Irish gangsters in Boston. But that was definitely, and that was like a cult classic, kind of in the 90s as well, where it was like a VHS, like a early DVD, classic, but not much mainstream success in the 90s, but like a, like I said, cult classic.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's other gangster ones like that. I would say, Gone Baby Gone is the Affleck directed one, and then The Town. They kind of both keep in the same.
Okay, for sure.
Same drawers.
I'm even going to throw Manchester by the Sea there, just because it's the whole Affleck family. But yeah, definitely, The Town is definitely a very Boston immersed whole crime tale. Gone Baby Gone, I honestly never saw. I don't think so. I'm not even sure. That's a crime tale.
Yeah, it's more of a mystery, kind of like Spencer Confidential.
Okay. Yeah, a real whodunit. Like another great Boston one though, Mystic River. Another.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Great movie. Takes place kind of like in the eerie, Boston, Massachusetts-y whole setting. But I mean, just right off the bat though, we listed off like fucking 15 Boston movies. Outside of like New York and LA, name any other cities that have like Chicago, we got Ferris Bueller, like give me another one, you know what I mean? There's like very little, Chicago, I guess there's a couple of like famous like Home Alone and the Griswolds are like famously from Chicago, but there isn't a lot of movies like where they're fucking going into the Sears Tower or anything outside of Tommy Boy, of course. But
no, I think one of the Transformer movies, the big battle was in Chicago.
Okay, all right.
That's about all I got.
But
well, do you like Boston too, like New York? I mean, there's plenty set in New York, but like even LA, I can think of like Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I guess a lot of the Tarantino movies really give you like the LA feel. Chinatown for Nicholson's a great like LA,
sure.
Movie like LA. There's definitely enough stuff out there.
There's also like certain directors and writers who like set all of their shit in like certain cities, like M. Night Shyamalan, the guy that makes all like the twist movies. All those are set in Philly.
Okay, great call. Great call.
Like Stephen King, most of his stories are all set in like the Maine area,
the New England area. I'm going to throw a huge regional fave at you, but kind of offbeat, much like his films. But John Waters and Baltimore, which is a very like weird region to like it's got all the Baltimore accents and all that kind of stuff, and like local Chesapeake references. And all of those total weird.
True.
But that's like a very Maryland
Simon
immersed.
Had all the
I'm sorry, what was that?
Stuff. David Simon had all the Baltimore stuff.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, like The Wire, like The Street, Homicide, like Baltimore Homicide.
Yeah, I think he actually wrote for the Baltimore newspaper for a long time, right? Isn't that how he got his start?
Yeah, he was a reporter.
Yeah. So he's definitely a Baltimore guy. And then I guess other like the Bad Boys franchise is like famously set in Miami.
That's
I guess Scarface is another Miami one. So there are other like you said,
Miami Vice.
Miami Vice, of course. TV shows is another a whole different world. Because there's a lot of, TV shows I think a little bit more, especially sitcoms anyway, which for me is like 90% of my TV watching is bad 90s sitcoms. But those all have like very strong regional ties, part of the situation. Part of the situation of the comedy. But, so there are other regional faves, but Boston really coming out hot.
Big F! WEFUNK. We funk.